the saddest crown, Empress for 99 days, a.k.a. the love story Germany didn't deserve. Welcome back to Past People, where the tiaras are heavy, the men are coughing blood, and political tragedy is always dressed in black velvet. Today's episode: a love story, a cautionary tale, and a political disaster, all wrapped into one tightly corseted woman. Meet Empress Victoria of Germany, a.k.a. Vicky, Queen Victoria's brilliant daughter and wife to Frederick III, the liberal German emperor who ruled for exactly 99 days before dying a slow, public, agonising death. Spoiler alert, it's not a comedy. But don't worry, we'll make it one anyway. Because behind the crown is a woman who tried to drag the German Empire into the 19th century with education reform, human rights, and actual functioning democracy. And what did she get in return? Snobbery, slander, and a front row seat to her husband choking to death while her son burned it all down. So grab your tea, your throat lozenges, and your rejected reform bills, because we're diving into the tragedy of Empress Victoria's 99-day reign. Act 1. A love built on enlightenment and eyebrows. Let's rewind. Our girl Vicky, eldest daughter of Queen Victoria and Prince Albert, was born in 1840, already overachieving. By the age of 3, she was speaking in full paragraphs. By 5, she was correcting her tutors, and by 17, she was marrying Prince Frederick Wilhelm of Prussia, a man so liberal he actually read books and liked his wife. Revolutionary, truly. Their marriage was not just a political alliance, it was a love match. They were pen pals, soulmates, reform buddies. If Netflix existed, they'd have a shared profile. And their plan? Wait patiently for the current grumpy Emperor Wilhelm I to die, so they could modernise Germany with something wild, like civil rights. But the Prussian court had other ideas, specifically hating Vicky. Why? Well, she was British, she was educated, she had opinions, and worst of all, she said them out loud. Truly scandalous behaviour from an empress-in-waiting. Act 2. The Prince, the Plot, and the Politics. Now, Frederick, Fritz to friends, was everything the Prussian military-industrial complex hated. He liked peace, he thought Jews should have rights, he didn't want to start wars for fun. And with Vicky whispering reforms and reason in his ear, Berlin's conservative elites started sweating into their pickelhaubers. While Fritz spent decades as crown prince waiting to inherit, Vicky was busy raising their kids, getting vilified in the press and trying to survive under the iron glare of her father-in-law, the original Wilhelm, a.k.a. I like soldiers more than education, guy. But the real heartbreak? Watching her son Wilhelm Jr. drift further and further into the arms of Prussian militarism. The one with the damaged arm, massive ego and zero empathy? Yeah, that one. He would never forgive his mother for the way he was born, and his life goal seemed to be undoing everything she believed in. So Vicky clung to her one hope. Fritz, the future, the liberal emperor Germany needed. And then, cancer. Act 3. The Emperor with no voice. Frederick starts getting hoarse, doctors poke around. Prussian ones say, it's just a cold. British ones scream, it's cancer, remove the larynx immediately. The court dithers. No one wants to upset the status quo by, saving his life. By the time action is taken, it's too late. His throat cancer is advanced. He can't speak. He writes everything in chalk on slates like some tragic Victorian Etch-a-sketch. Finally, Emperor Wilhelm I dies in 1888 at the age of 90-something, and Fritz becomes Frederick III, German Emperor, and so does Vicky, Empress Victoria, at last. They'd waited 28 years for this. They had plans, speeches, reforms, political dreams, but Frederick is now a husk of himself, physically weak, emotionally exhausted, and dying in full public view. They last 99 days. Act 4. 99 Days of Grief in a Gilded Cage. During those 99 days, Vicky is everything: wife, nurse, secretary, advisor, therapist, and occasionally emotional sponge. She shields him from the press, she keeps up appearances, she writes to her mother, Queen Victoria, every single day, spilling out grief, hope, and rage. She tries to push reforms through anyway, whispering into the ears of ministers, using her fading influence like a dying candle. But no one wants to listen. They're already looking at the next Kaiser. And that next Kaiser, Wilhelm II, her son, her biggest heartbreak. And Wilhelm couldn't wait for Daddy to kick the bucket. He hangs around the deathbed like a vulture in military drag. He spreads rumours that Vicky is controlling his father. He wants her gone. Frederick dies on June 15, 1888, less than 3 months after becoming emperor, and Vicky, she becomes a political ghost. Act 5. The Exiled Empress. Wilhelm II is now Kaiser, and one of his first acts, exile his mother to the countryside like she's a badly behaved. She writes letters predicting disaster. She says Wilhelm's obsession with military power and hatred of diplomacy will lead to war. Spoiler, she's right. But by the time World War I begins, she's already dead. She dies in 1901, just months after Queen Victoria, as if they couldn't bear to be apart even in death. Act 6. The Legacy She Never Got. So what did Empress Victoria leave behind? Not a long reign, not public adoration, not even much credit. But she left behind an entire library of her thoughts in those letters, a detailed blueprint of the liberal, democratic Germany that could have been, and a record of how hard it is to be a smart woman in a stupid court. Her 99 days on the throne were a tragedy, but her life was one long act of resistance. Resistance against misogyny, against ignorance, against monarchy for monarchy's sake. She was an empress, a reformer, a mother, and the living embodiment of I told you so, if only people had listened. So the next time you think your job is pointless, your kids hate you, and your legacy's on fire, just remember Empress Victoria. She lived through court venom, royal humiliation, 2 Kaisers, a dead husband, and still managed to write more letters than most people send in their lifetime. She ruled for 99 days, but she mattered for decades. So raise your teacup to Vicky, empress, daughter, ghostwriter of reformist dreams. You may not have got your throne, my dear, but you definitely earned your spot here on Past People.